Hey everyone, hope you had a good holiday or Merry Christmas, anything you celebrate. And if you don't, I hope you just had fun with the time off. Have to make this quick, but I haven't put up something for a while. And I do plan on doing a year-end book talk video and an upcoming pickups video. Not much will be said there really. I did get some great stuff, but a lot of it was held up in customs. I got the vast majority of it 2 days ago. However, I did beat 4 games in that period, so I'll talk about those. But this is going to just talk about some fun gifts I got in. A few of these I'm pretty sure people will be interested in from having talked to them on here and on Facebook, so I thought I'd show them. I did want to give 2 quick channel mentions, one big, one small. That is to Classic Gaming Quarterly, if you've never seen it. He has a variety of videos, but his kind of staples are, one, he goes over older magazines, but as he's talking about the ads and the reviews, he actually shows gameplay footage of the games in a little insert, and he'll talk about them as well. But the other big one is he does console launches. So not only does he talk about the history of the company, the history of the console and the technology, he goes over the entire launch lineup. And that means he shows gameplay footage and gives like mini reviews of each game, but also shows old advertisements and what the magazines thought of the games at the time. I can rewatch those. Very entertaining. He recently redid his Genesis launch video, but he's got one for TurboGrafx 16. He also does series like histories, such as Golden Axe, which will show all the titles in the line. So definitely check it out. The other is Sega Lord X. I've been watching a lot of his videos. He puts up quite a few. He comes up with pretty good ideas, like cheap eBay finds. So the games you always see pop up when you search for Saturn games that are cheap. So these aren't necessarily recommendations. He goes through all of them to tell you if he's liked them or not. Because in many cases, since he imported his Saturn, he also imported those at the time of release. So he's saying, I spent $60 to $80 on this. You can get it for $5. Is it worth it? He'll show gameplay footage. One is working designs games on it. One of his favorite shooters or arcade conversions. He does a great job of coming up with mini lists and detailing them. So definitely check those two out. First, I'll show what my friend got me. He's been a bit hit or miss with gifts. One year he got me a kit to smoke cigars, but I don't smoke and he knows that. When I asked him why, he just said, in case you do one day. He doesn't smoke either. So, like I said, spotty. But this year he really came through. He goes to pawn shops a lot, so he'll find some really good deals. And he tucked one away for me, which is the Blu-ray of Glengarry Glen Ross. If you've never seen it, it's based on a play, and so there are only, I want to say, 3 locations throughout the whole movie. The lion's share of it takes place in an office with Al Pacino, Kevin Spacey, Jack Lemmon. Who else is in there? Ed Harris. I think they're selling timeshares or condos, and it's a stormy night, and they're trying to make their numbers, and Alec Baldwin comes in from the main office to complain that they haven't been doing their job. ABC Always Be Closing, that's on the back here. You see that reference in SNL skits and other comedy skits. Really good movie. It's still sealed. I have it on regular DVD, so I'm not sure how much the transfer is improved, but given that it uses a lot of darks, it might actually look a lot better on Blu-ray. But great movie. Really glad he picked that up for me. And where he really came through with is something I had been eyeing for a while, but I didn't buy. I was looking at the special edition version of it, but since I didn't get to it in time, I just kind of passed on it and put it on the back burner. But he got me the Super Famicom, the box art collection. Now, these give you shots of each game, along with the genre, the developer, publisher, and a brief description of the game itself. A little bit of the history if it's a franchise we don't know about. It never goes into too much detail because it covers a lot. I was surprised how many boxes had damage, though. You'll see at the top here, worn corners on these. Now, given that's not uncommon, but I have plenty of Super Famicom games that don't have damage. So I'm assuming this is from a personal collection. Just out of convenience sake, here's the cover to Phalanx. There's a raccoon game I thought looked really good. From, I think it's, I always forget how to pronounce her name, Misa? Messiah. Um, they did the Langrisser series, but they did one about a raccoon that's trying to get cookies that I immediately went to eBay to find, but yeah, it was going for $60, so I passed for the time being. Um, the Aliens games also have nice covers. Let me see if I can find those here. But yeah, this is a really nice book, very hefty. If you don't collect for the Super Famicom, but you want to know what they look like, because sometimes the box art is, as is known, quite a bit better than what we got. Let's see, Rockman. I can't find it. Well, here's a good one to end on. Shadowrun. Let me see if I can. The pages are glossy, so it might reflect a bit. That's a nice cover. Lighting. So thank you to him. Next up, my wife, who really came through this year. First, she got me a book I've been wanting, The Ancient Near East. Now, I'm interested in the Assyrian and Neo-Assyrian Empire, as well as the Hittites, and you really can't find a lot of books devoted to them in English. And you will read about them in general works, in general histories. And when I noticed they always reference this book. So I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, hard to find information on them solely in English. Apparently something's banging around outside. She also imported me a copy of Threads, a docudrama made in the 1980s about a nuclear arms exchange and its impact on a small town in England. It goes through the repercussions of this for several decades, involving the breakdown of society, of the education system, how when people would farm, if they could farm, what would happen, the damage to them while they were farming, things like that. And on a different note, Man to Man with Dean Lerner. Now, I really enjoy Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and that brings me to another one of her gifts for me, which is a mug. Now, she was disappointed that the image is a bit stretched, but I don't mind. To have the crew on a mug to go is A-okay with me. But if you've never seen it, I tried to explain to my friend who gave me those gifts what Dark Place was about. And he was kind of drunk, so that was hard. But it's based on a character who's a low-rent Stephen King. And at some point, a television channel was harder for programming, so they adapted some of his stories. And they were really poor, and it got canceled. But it's been 10 or 15 years, and a production company wants to re-release them. So they go and interview the cast, and they splice these interviews with the actors into the fake show. So you get snippets of the fake show and snippets of the comedians pretending to be the actors in the show. There's also DVD commentary of them staying in character. It's a lot of fun. We watch it every Halloween. There's only about 6 episodes. So I have not seen Man to Man with Dean Lerner, which was a follow-up where Richard Ayoade's character, who is the publisher and Garth's manager, has a late-night talk show, and characters from the show come on. But the other biggie she got me, and I was shocked to get this, she found a Columbo board game. Please keep in mind, you don't see Peter Falk's face. When you open the box and get the cards, you never see Peter Falk's face. Someone did not pay that man his due. In it, you have to piece together the suspects in the murder weapon. There are 4 suspects for each gender, but they're the same profession. So there's like an athlete, a movie star, a business mogul. And there's also a Columbo card you can pull out. I guess it's like an instant win. And there are other cards with questions on them. We haven't played it yet, but it comes with all the pieces. And we've been watching the 1990s Columbo's Mysteries. We found them at the library. So we've actually been watching those instead of playing that. But that's definitely coming up soon. I'll talk more about Amazon in the pickup video because they start charging tax here. And before they did, my work had me buy a lot of stuff, so I built up some credit. But while I was building up credit and picking up stuff with the credit, I also got a gift card from, I have 2 sets of in-laws and some aunts and uncles. And, they send a few bucks here and there. So I got some gift cards from Amazon and just some cash in general. I banked some, and with the rest, I picked up the 4K version of Labyrinth. Now, in talking to Lebosu77, Is this necessary? No, probably not. No, I mean, it still looks good on regular DVD. The Blu-ray looks good, but why not if you have the TV and the set? Well, I use an Xbox One S, but it actually comes with the regular Blu-ray, and it was about $20 shipped. So well worth it. I will say, I did pop the Blu-ray in, watched a few minutes of it, and I popped the 4K in. The best way I can describe it is someone took the DVD version and gave it a good once over for the Blu-ray. Then they took the Blu-ray version and went twice over for the 4K. It's really crisp. There's still a touch of grain. You get more grain in Blu-ray and even more in the DVD, but minimal amount. And what that leads to is, while I do enjoy grain in some movies, especially older science fiction, I was noticing details in this movie I'd never seen before, and so was my wife. We actually paused it a few times to point things out we had never seen before. And it made some things actually make more sense and give meaning to some of the creatures. There's also a little featurette on David Bowie, of course. It's pretty short, but you have Jennifer Connelly talks about him and a lot of the puppeteers. A lot of interviews with the puppeteers and the creators, like the character designers. And some of the puppets are still around, so it's heartening to see that. And I picked up 2 books. One is The Guide to Classic Graphic Adventures from Hardcore Gaming 101. I honestly didn't expect it to be this big. I didn't look at the page count. I just thought, oh, that'd be a fun thing to read. But this is going to take a long time. But I also picked up one of their newest ones, The Guide to Shoot 'em Ups. This is by far the best cover they've produced. Now, what's especially nice about this is if you have a Kindle and you buy the physical version, you'll get an email saying, do you want to buy the Kindle version for $1? Some publishers now are signing a deal with Amazon to where if you buy a physical book, they'll give you the Kindle one. Like I said, 99. Well, this was 99 cents. Some can be up to $2.99, but the email said 99 cents to $2.99. That's really nice, especially for something like this. Here's Still Empire. You see color screens. Speaking of which, I did pick that up. They'll be in the pickup video. They cover, here's Final Soldier. Kind of a quick list here for Compile's MSX shooters. Game Gear Aleste, Gunnak, Space Megaforce. Let's go to the back here. Blast Wind, R-Type 2, R-Type Leo, Lords of Thunder, Rainbow Cotton. So yeah, of course, you know, their books always have hiccups here and there, but for the most part, really good. The Kindle version is also really good, so if you just want the ebook, I think it's like $3.99 regular, something like that. Definitely give it a try. You can get a sample ebook version sent to your Kindle for that one as well, if you just want to give it a quick look. My brother got me the Hellraiser box set, which seems to have dropped in price really fast. When he pre-ordered it, it was supposed to be at like $120 something. By the time it came out, it had dropped to about 85 to 90, and I saw it go as low as 70. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's got the first 3 movies, a 4th disc that's supplemental material, and a 200-page book that's exclusive to that set. I really enjoy the first 2. Sorry for that smack. I really enjoy the first 2 movies. I could go without the third, and I actually like some of the post-Clive Barker movies, like Inferno. Now, my folks got me a mix of books and movies, so I'll show those. First up, The Chronicle of Theophanes. Now, I got this because I read this is the only continuous history that is available from 602 to 813. I think he was based out of Byzantine or Constantinople. But yeah, this had high ratings and one of the few continuous ones, so I jumped on that to fill in that gap. Filling up another gap is the Social War 91 to 88. This was really expensive for a long time, but I found a used copy, shot an email, and they were able to jump on it in time. It just so happens that Philip Matizak, who is a writer I do enjoy, but who works with Pen and Sword, who's a publisher I do not enjoy, he put out a book on the Social War, I think a year ago, that I'm going to have to pick up. I don't like supporting Pen and Sword, but they do cover really niche topics. They just have very, very bad quality control. But this is more at the academic level, so it's drier than something by Philip Matysek. But I'm about halfway through, and so far I've gone through what modern historians think, ancient historians think, the different names for the war, how it was viewed throughout time, and it's about to get to the war itself. Again, hard to get works in English on this period. This and the Matysek book are the only ones that I know of. In terms of movies, I got the Criterion version of Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. It's got a few vignettes, some short stories. This disc in particular has a new translation and new interviews, but it's several short stories based on dreams he had. And the thing is, even when they're not terribly engaging stories, visually they look really good because some of the stories are pretty simple, like basic myth stories, but they look great. And some are interesting. I have this on regular DVD, but I really want to check this out on Blu-ray. Got in The Exorcist 3 with my man George C. Scott. It's got the classic scene in the hospital with the nurse and the shears. This is a Shout-Scream Factory release. I'm really enjoying their slipcase releases. Another Criterion, this is Videodrome. To my shock and horror, my brother had never seen this. Now, when we were growing up, we shared a room together, and then my parents moved when we got a little older, and we had separate rooms, but we were right next to one another, and we would always watch the same movies, and he said he's never seen this. I don't know how that happened, because I've seen this probably 10 times. I'm going to have to rectify that when he's in town next. So, Videodrome. And lastly, they got me the Peter Watkins collection. Now, I've seen the War Games, which, from what I read, was banned for about 15 years. He went to a small town, and he filmed a city's reaction to a nuclear exchange, because that was made in 1965. So he had the fire department involved, the police, local schools. So they would kind of set a scene and film how they would react, but then they get pretty graphic with it, especially for that time, and it's very well done. After that, I saw Culloden, which was made in 1964, but I didn't see it until after War Games, and it's about a Scottish war where he interviews people on site. I haven't seen Edward Munch or The Gladiators, which I believe is about the Cultural Revolution in China. And Punishment Park was made in the 1970s over here in the U.S., and it's set in a dystopian future where dissidents are sent to a park and hunted down. And that's it. Plenty of stuff to watch, but I've been playing games. I'll talk more about that later. I hope everyone had a great holiday, and I will talk to everyone in a bit.